Hey everybody, welcome. It's Calvin here from Calvinomics. It's about 9 a.m. here in northern Illinois. Pretty stormy. It's March 6th. I've made a series of videos talking about economic concepts, usually a lot of silver, gold, precious metals, stocks. But today I want to talk about something a little bit different. Back when I was getting my master's at Texas State University, I worked for the radio station called KTSW 89.9 FM. Created some podcasts, started working for the web content team, just writing articles. And I actually tried to look for it, but I think they might be taking them down. It's been several years since I graduated, so they only have so much space probably on the drive. But one of the things that I talked about, I actually thought it was interesting because we're getting close to the big game, the Super Bowl. I don't know like what the if I'm supposed to say Super Bowl or not. I know they have like they either way. I think it's totally lame because they have a trademark on the word, but I'm not big enough, so I'm not whatever. I don't think they're gonna come after me. It'd be kind of crazy if they did. Anyway, it was a article about avocados and avocados and how much we actually use. So I started researching avocados a little bit more, and there's a lot of interesting information about them. So if you look at the screen, I don't know who this person is. This video shows how to check for it. It's like some comedian. Come on, I don't know what this is. So I just put avocados, and then I'm gonna get rid of this, and you know what they look like. Now, avocado prices overall have been going down despite tariffs, even on Mexico, and probably just demand is plummeting in general. In a certain way, it's gone down like almost like 20 something percent. I've Googled that because I wanted to make sure. Because it looked like there was hitting some highs and then just kind of went down. And it looks like it's saying here, according to I started reading some of the articles. It says 19, some say 25, some say 12. It's really hard, but either way, it's going down, as you can just see from a chart in and of itself, anywhere up from 19 to 27%. Now, avocados come from mainly our source of avocados here in the United States come from a state in Mexico called Michoacan. If I'm pronouncing that right, go ahead and please yell at me in the comments. And this is where we get a lot of the avocados from. Kind of makes sense. They need a temperate climate to grow. They use a lot of water. In fact, a lot of water. However, the cartels, when I was researching it, I found that the cartels are actually heavily involved in the avocados. So when we go out and buy, now I'm not trying to guilt trip anybody. It is what it is. There's almost criminal elements to almost anything, it seems like anymore. And so when you buy avocados, in fact, the cartels have a big hand in the avocado trade. Now, I'm not really going to get too much into that because I really don't care. I barely eat them. And so, one thing though, when I was researching avocados, is that the word aguacate. It's one of the, I guess, words that was used, but there was other words. I don't know. You can go through the whole thing about how the word avocado started, but essentially, and this is, if you look at what these are, avocados actually used to be called essentially, well, testicles. And that is what they refer to. So you have to read through all this stuff like here. So if you Google what is the slang term for avocados, and then you'll see here, alligator pears is one of them. That's the, guess, PG version of, you know, avocados. But if you go here and look through some of them, it's a slang term for testicles, ground testicles, guacamole, ground test. That does not sound great. So there you go. There's another slang term. Okay, 90% of the avocados come from Mexico. We're not going to read this article together, but just to kind of confirm, this is from CNBC. Now, one thing when I started researching it is because we have a huge problem with resources in the world in general. Data centers are something I'm going to talk about that are also very big resource hogs, especially with water, as well as marijuana. But avocados are not really talked about. It's always like, oh, they're environmentally friendly and oh, they're good for you. But just to grow a single avocado, and I've fact checked this, so I know this AI in their overview is actually correct in a way, because what I remember was that there's about 40 gallons for a medium-sized avocado. So they might be talking about big avocados. So 50 to 60 gallons of water. And then depending on the region that's where they're being grown, it could even take up to 85, like in Chile. So over 130 gallons of water to produce each pound of avocados, which is maybe like what, three, four? That's pretty crazy in and of itself. Here's the article. Reject it. Mexican cartels profit from the avocado boom. See, so more than $3 billion annually in Mexico represents an interesting diversification. So, the cartels, if they're trying to go legit, just go into the avocado trade. And there you go. And we're going to talk about here, especially on Super Bowl Sunday, imported here 2024, imported 137,000 tons. This is one thing I want to talk about. So on Super Bowl Sunday or the big game, depending on the source, they have to say the big game for, licensing purposes or trademark. The There are millions, in fact, it takes about billions of gallons of water to grow the avocados that are produced for the United States just for Super Bowl Sunday. And I remember doing the article about it a long time ago, and I forgot the exact number. That's why I was trying to find the article. But if you go here, how much water does it take? And I know this is around the same amount. It takes about 4.2 gallons of water to grow all the avocados that are consumed on just that one afternoon alone. And I like these fun facts. It's enough to fill 7,616 Olympic swimming pools, equivalent to 1 billion loads of laundry, or over 3,600 years of showering. That means if you were to shower nonstop for 3,600 years, you would finally use the same amount of water as it took to grow all the avocados for that one football afternoon, which I think is insane. So, no, it's really not environmentally friendly whatsoever. It might be good for you, but there is a lot of resources that are consumed in growing avocados. And so, as you see here, 50 gallons of water needed to grow one avocado. If you go into this Reddit discussion, I clicked it, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth. And so, if you hear thunder in the background, it is storming here in northern Illinois right now. So, here you go, 2024, 35,000 tons of fruit. Remember, a ton is 2,000 pounds. And were shipped, which translates to approximately 250 million avocados crossing the border just for football. Now, so if you're into having, the parties on that Sunday, fantastic. I kind of got over that long ago. I mean, it's not really as fun as it used to be. The commercials aren't as funny. The halftime performances aren't as great. I mean, the games aren't even that great. It's just become kind of dull in many, many ways. But when it was fine, yeah, very, very natural to have guacamole, chips, and a bunch of other like foods, whatever, just appetizers and then like wings and pizza or something. So there you go. Uh, here you go. The word avocado once meant balsamic. That's funny. So a little bit more than a G-rated episode, but I thought you would find that funny and interesting just because avocados, I thought, are just a very interesting fruit. And in fact, are avocados a fruit? And they are a fruit. And so there you go, single sided berry. So for the longest time, before I did that article on, for KTSW 89.9 FM and Texas State University, I just have to say it that way. I used to work there. They're a really great radio station. I thought it was a vegetable, and no, it's a fruit. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. A little bit of a different segment, and I probably in this next video I upload, I will talk about silver, gold, current oil prices, as well as kind of what's happening with the Iran conflict, which we all hear about. But basically, what I enjoy talking about, how it's going to affect the precious metals market. All right, so have a great day. Talk to you soon.